All right, guys, so watch this video for Monday, October 8th. Before I get into the watch list, a couple comments, something I'm seeing on Twitter a lot lately, and it's probably been going on for years. I mean, I've kind of noticed it, but my fear is that anyone that's somewhat new to the stock market isn't going to know what's going on, and that's the main goal of some people running services is to be able to tweet a $15,000 day, a $30,000 day, a $50,000 overnight hold. And these people, some of them, are literally teaching their members to average into losers and then hold overnight and then buy more if it keeps going against them and so on, or short more, whatever way they're going. And the person recommending these ideas, their only goal is so they can have a big win, not to make a living off of, because they're risking crazy amounts of money. They're taking huge overnight risks. They're averaging into losers. These are things traders should never do. But yes, it's going to hurt everyone else who's doing it if it fails, right? Everyone who's following. But if they can end up pulling out a winner, and a sizable winner, and they can say, well, I made $14,000 in 3 days, it doesn't matter. Some of these guys, the best of my knowledge, the one guy I'm thinking of is down for the year, but yet he'll tweet like crazy when he has a $20,000 overnight winner because, well, you can probably figure out why if you don't know why. A $20,000 overnight winner or a 3-day hold, even if that jackass is down for the year, that doesn't matter to someone who's just discovering trading, right? They look at a tweet and they'll even post, the screenshot of their E-Trade account, and it'll have the dates from this day to this day, and look at the gains from this day to this day. It doesn't tell everyone they're down for the year. This is somebody running a service, right? But that tweet with a $20,000 3-day hold is going to get them, I don't know, 100 subscribers, because people see that and all they can think is, oh, I want to make $20,000 in 3 days or $100,000 over the course of 2 months, right? Those tweets are big money for these guys running this service. So they're taking these crazy risks because they know it's more important to be able to tweet a screenshot of a big winner versus some of the stuff. Every once in a while, I'll post a screenshot of my equity curve, which, as I'm babbling here, I'm at the highs for the year. But that equity curve isn't sexy. It doesn't sell memberships. A huge winner is what sells memberships. So I just want you to understand, when you see these huge winners, at least do a little bit of research and find out how consistent this person is, and also if they're holding overnight and they're averaging into losers. I don't care if you follow them and you make a killing averaging into a loser because you held it for a few days and then it came back and you had a nice trade. You're not going to be around long, because teaching people to average into losers, and that, I'm not talking about investing, I'm not talking about 401ks, I'm talking about trading. That's what I do. I trade. I don't even hold overnight, right? But averaging into losers is a loser's game, and you're going to get, if you're making money doing it as a trader, eventually you're going to get your ass handed to you. And then you'll say, hey, maybe I should have listened to that guy. All right, so that's my little mini lecture before I go into the video. So let's look at the SPY. 3 ugly days, right? And pretty good volume. So the SPY looks, it's scaring people. This green line is my 60 period moving average, which I don't use for the daily charts. This is normally the chart that I use for 5-minute candles, in which case the 60 period moving average means a lot to me. But the 60 and the 50, as you can imagine, are pretty close. As a matter of fact, I've got a smaller version of the daily chart here. The orange line is the 50 days. So, you look at this chart and you say, well, the market's down a few days, the SPY's down a few days, and kind of has a little bit of a bottoming tail. So at the moment, it's holding the 50-day. I don't think the market is in trouble, but then there's other people calling it a bear market already because they're not used to any kind of selling. Trading's been fantastic this week, and I never short. So you had three nasty red days last week, and it was a great week. So you gotta watch the right stuff and know how to properly time your entries and that sort of thing. But I'm not at all nervous about the market. There are a lot more stocks that look ugly though. So we'll just keep focusing on the recent big movers, the in-play stocks, and keep doing what we do. So let's start the watch list. Real quick, let me bring this up. there. I've already basically explained this, but I like people to understand. I don't want people to, maybe today's the first day you're ever watching one of my videos and you think I'm an investor. So I want to make sure everybody knows I'm 100% cash every night, and I build these watch lists so I can make some money the next day, which is what's cool about our lifetime membership. If you can get in one day a month, right? Because you know whatever day you're logging in, I'm trying to make money that day on the recent in-play stock. So it's you can log in and find what we're trading that day and make some money. And the lifetime membership, you don't have to worry about recurring payments. So that's I've got teachers that only pop in the summer. I've got people that they work some days, other days they have weekdays off, so they pop in. But just to understand that I'm a day trader and I'm looking to make money in some stocks that day. That's why I always focus on the recent high flyers, the in-play stocks, because I can usually find something to trade on any given day, right? VLRX. I don't love this, but it did have a little bit of extra volume on this pop up here to $1.66. Kind of came down, flagged, and is curving back up. So I don't really like the way this thing trades, but certainly over this little flag is worth watching. You can see the extra volume on these two green days also, so might be ready to break out. TROV had a massive volume day on Friday. It went as high as $1.07 before settling in right below $1. Maybe a continuation day there tomorrow up into this gap, right? So certainly worth watching. LEVB, we had this on Bounce Watch going into Friday, and it did bounce. It's a thin stock, so I don't love it, but we'll see. If the pot stocks get to moving, the low price pot stocks is where there's a lot of money to be made in these. If you trade them correctly, this one is certainly one to watch. AMMA had this big pop, actually a big pop back here, then a lower high, and then on Friday, some pretty nice volume. And so pay attention to where the 200-day is, but over Friday's high, over 42 cents, maybe makes a run at the 200-day, maybe breaks out and retests this 60-cent area. So it's got support below and breaking out of a base. We'll see. ALT, crazy move. This doesn't look like much, but I'll show you the intraday here. Crazy move on Friday from 456 all the way to 760. Actually, in after hours, I think it was trading up closer to 9 or something. But there you can see the volume, the pullback, the second leg, the flag, and then the strong close, and then even a bigger move in after hours. Absolutely want to watch this one. See the volume that poured into that thing. EARS, let me zoom in so you can see this chart. Yeah, this pop back here to 45 cents. Then it took that out briefly, went to 51 cents, and now a very nice flag. This thing's super interesting, over 50 or 51 cents. Handsome looking chart there, in my opinion. NIO. This is weird because it's a recent new issue, but it seems to have found support. And you got a couple bottoming tails. You got kind of a 2-day high right here around 630. And then the day before that 2-day high, it popped to 655. I think this thing's really trying to bounce, so I'm going to keep our eyes on that one. That's that Chinese electric car maker. ATRS had this big volume day here that went from 323 to 393. That's a big percentage move, and is flagging, so maybe another leg coming on that one. MNGA we had on Bounce Watch going into Friday, and it's just on Bounce Watch again. A more narrow range on the day, and I don't really know, it's kind of interesting over Friday's high, over 39 cents. But we might get an intraday setup that gives us a different kind of entry, and we might not get a setup at all. IGC, honestly, I'm scared of this thing, but it had such a huge move, and now it's 3 massive days lower. It already took out the 20-day. I still think this could give a nice trade as a bounce play if it meets one of our bounce play intraday setups. You're getting kind of close to a round trip, but I do think there could be a little mini squeeze bounce one of these days. So it just goes back on watch. We had it on watch going into Friday, and there were no setups on Friday. VTGN had this big pop. I don't love this because it's almost round tripped, but the pullback is on much lower volume. It did come back down to the 8-day. I don't know, one of my least favorite, but you never know. Sometimes you get a rip on one of these recent high flyers after a pullback, so I didn't type that right. CRBP is my final one. This was on Bounce Watch. Just goes back on Bounce Watch again. It came back down to the 20-day. Another one of those that's in the pot stock category. So if those start moving, keep your eyes on CRBP. And what was the other one I mentioned? LEVB and some of those others. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Again, go to the link down below. We've created a very low barrier to entry. I call it our almost free trial. You can get involved in our room for what is it, I think $79 or something. So check out that deal, because one of the biggest complaints was, hey, we can't get into your room. I can't get into your room for less than 200 or 300 or whatever our lowest price was at the time. So I've completely restructured it. And it's been extremely popular. So it's cool to see all the new faces, and it's a great way to get involved with a group that actually, protects the downside first. I don't ever recommend holding overnight. I don't average into losers. You probably, if you've started with one of these gambling rooms, it'll be quite refreshing to you to see somebody teaching you to protect against losses first and foremost. I'm done babbling. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. See everybody on Monday.